Almost 3 years after he lost his life in a tragic event in Atlanta, Davin Daquan Bennett, better known as King Von, still keeps people talking. Even in 2025, new music from the Chicago rapper was being released, keeping his name alive in the hip-hop world. But what really kept fans buzzing was how much of his private life started coming to light. Rumors, street stories, and wild claims about his past kept him at the center of attention. Von had a reputation that made other rappers tread carefully around him. So why were so many in the game cautious when it came to King Von? First off, it was all about his circle. People say you become like the crew you hang with, and Von's crew was legendary in the streets. He rolled with some big names like Lil Durk and his close friend T-Roy. Even though T-Roy wasn't tall, he was known to stand strong and loyal. Those who knew him spoke about his fearless nature and how deeply respected he was in their community. Even after he passed, stories about T-Roy's loyalty and street legacy continued to echo through songs and interviews. Back in school, T-Roy stood out, not just for his energy.
Roy just different, you know what I'm saying? He was a real enforcer. Shorty is a savage on another motherfucker that was fearless.
But because of his height, being one of the shorter kids, he often got picked on, and that built up a lot of frustration inside him. Tired of the teasing, he decided he'd never let anyone mess with him again. From then on, he carried himself with confidence and made sure everyone knew he wasn't someone to play with. But according to those who knew him best, there was more to his story than just schoolyard teasing. One of his childhood friends, J Hood, said that everything changed after T-Roy witnessed something heartbreaking: the loss of his close friend and role model, Odie Perry. On the night of August 10th, 2011, Odie was out riding his bike along South Martin Luther King Drive when tragedy struck. Witnesses said the calm night suddenly turned chaotic when someone came up to him and things went terribly wrong. 2 people were seen running from the scene right after, leaving Odie badly hurt. J Hood shared that T-Roy rushed to his friend's side, trying to keep him alive until help came. In his final moments, Odie looked at
Troy is one of those, like, he one of them type of, he wake up, eat, sleep, shit, this drill.
T-Roy and said, "They got me, bro." Odie Perry was deeply loved in Parkway Gardens, so much that after his passing, the Wick City crew renamed their block to O Block.
Bro, you ain't gotta be scared of him if you one of the guys, you know what I'm saying? But if you on that other side, you should be terrified of him. Like terrified of him, like, for good.
In his honor, his funeral drew a huge crowd, packed with people from all over the city who came to show love and pay their last respects. It was clear that OD wasn't just another name. He was a symbol of pride for the whole neighborhood. For the people of Parkway Gardens, losing someone that respected was devastating. But for one person in particular, T-Roy, it hit harder than anyone could imagine. He had seen everything happen right in front of him, holding OD in his arms and hearing his final words. That moment haunted him. First came the shock, then the sadness, and then something inside him just snapped. According to J Hood, that night completely changed T-Roy's mindset. Before OD's death, T-Roy wasn't known for getting too deep into street life. Sure, he had carried himself with confidence like many others around him, but it was mostly about fitting in and not looking weak. J Hood explained that back then, a lot of young guys felt pressure from older ones to act tougher than they really were. But
you know, it's probably a little syndrome. You growing up and shit, everybody thinking you 10 years old. Probably got to a point where you was tired of thinking because he little.
After OD was gone, T-Roy made a decision. He wasn't going to be the same quiet kid anymore. He felt like someone had to keep OD's name alive, and he was ready to take on that responsibility. He started moving differently, carrying himself like a man on a mission. Soon, people began to notice that T-Roy was becoming one of the most recognized figures on the block. He wasn't shy about it either. He'd post on social media, showing that he had full confidence in himself and his crew. While rolling through South St. Lawrence Avenue, T-Roy and his crew spotted Marlon Monroe, better known as Lil Doc. According to reports, Lil Doc had been putting in honest work, helping his aunt repaint her Woodlawn building. After finishing up, he got thirsty and decided to hit a nearby corner store for a quick drink. But just as he made his way inside, things took a dark turn. Moments later, chaos broke out. Lil Doc tried to run, but he ended up collapsing in an empty lot close to the store. Police arrived, combed through the scene, and cleared the area, but somehow they didn't notice him right away. Hours later, a young relative hurrying home for curfew stumbled across his body. It was a heartbreaking scene on the 6300 block of South Street Lawrence Avenue. What made it even sadder was that Lil Doc had just started turning his life around. At only 21, he had just come home after serving time and was trying to do better for himself. He'd earned his GED, gotten into painting, and was helping with property maintenance for his aunt. People around him said he was really trying to get back on track. Not long after that, another tragedy shook the city, this time involving boss Trell.
Whatever the biggest gun is, Troy.
A name known throughout Chicago's South Side. Reports said he had been targeted after getting caught up in old street beefs. When police arrived, they found him in critical condition and rushed him to Stroger Hospital, but sadly, he didn't make it. Boss Trell had made up his mind. He was ready for a clean slate. He bought a bus ticket to Iowa, set to leave Chicago on November 10th, 2012, and even tweeted about his excitement, saying he couldn't wait to start fresh. Sadly, that tweet would end up being the very thing that gave away his plans. Once word spread, people from the other side caught on, and that excitement turned into danger. According to rumors from the streets, someone came up with a plan to stop him before he could leave. The story goes that a girl was used to set up a fake meeting with boss Trell, and he took the bait, showing up by himself the next day. When he got to the spot, the girl was nowhere to be found, and that's when he realized something was off.
T-Roy was like that with him his last little moments, and T-Roy and then T-Roy said that, oh, like, damn, they got me, bro. Like, that was his last.
Moments later, a car crept up nearby, and everything went downhill fast. Boss Trell tried to run for his life, but things happened too quickly. Not long after, he was found in an alley on West 83rd Street, just 2 days before his bus was supposed to leave. And just like that, the tables would soon turn. In a twist that many say felt like karma, T-Roy's own story would come to an end in a similar way. On Valentine's Day in 2017, he and a friend were walking through the South Shore
Love, like overly love. His funeral was
neighborhood on East 71st Street when trouble found them. Surveillance footage later showed that some people from a rival crew were nearby, searching the area. T-Roy and his associate stepped into a small store, talking casually between the aisles, not realizing they were being watched. Moments later, things escalated outside. Voices were raised, movements got tense, and the peace of the day was shattered. Seconds later, CCTV footage showed TB and Can't Get Right walking into the store, heading straight toward T-Roy and his crew. TB kept one hand low.
one of the first deaths that was from the ops. When you one of the first to die, man, it hit.
Hiding something behind his back. In a split second, everything went wrong. T-Roy was hit and dropped to the floor as chaos broke out inside the store. He was rushed to Northwestern Memorial Hospital, but sadly, he didn't make it. The news shook Chicago's rap scene to the core. Famous rappers close to him, including Lil Durk, Lil Reese, 600 Breezy, and Chief Keef, took to social media to express their heartbreak.
Me, T-Roy, all us, Von, we all used to be in cahoots. Yes, used to have guns, but we just used to have it so that the big guys wouldn't call us pussy. It's just like when you grow up in the hood and it's like, you ain't getting no pussy, you ain't no nothing, you a lame, you a goofy, so niggas finna do what? We finna try to fucking do all this. We might not even want it, but like we finna try to open ourselves up to it so niggas can't talk about it.
King Von, who was behind bars at the time, later shared on Instagram Live that when his mom told him about T-Roy's passing, he broke down crying. A rare moment of emotion for someone who'd seen so much pain already. Lil Durk, one of T-Roy's closest friends, had long been known for his deep ties to O-Block. While he's never been charged for anything related to the streets, the speculation around him has always run wild. People online even connected him to old rivalries like the one with rapper FBG Cash, who had mocked Von after his death and even disrespected his mural. Durk seemed to send a subtle warning online afterward, posting a story that read, "Don't diss things you don't understand, it won't end well." Fans instantly believed that message was aimed at Cash. Later, in his track Computer Murderers,
"Motherfucker run up on me, I will shoot you. No problem. I will shoot you."
Durk dropped the bar. Sneaking pics by Von Mural like Lil Bro won't come out and spin. The lyric only fueled the rumors even more. In an interview, Von's former manager, 100K Track, even said he trusted Von's safety more with the O-Block guys than with professional bodyguards. That's how deep their loyalty ran. These men were willing to go all out for Von. And according to reports, several of them are now facing serious charges connected to him. With O-Block standing behind him, Von seemed untouchable. Rumors also swirled about a situation involving Lil Pap, a close friend of rapper Quando Rondo. Many fans link that incident back to tensions that started after Von's death, especially since Quando had been blamed by the streets for what happened to Von. Even though Quando didn't directly cause it, his later lyrics and interviews came across as disrespectful to some of Von's people, sparking a new wave of drama online.
I think at some point you take the picture in front of O-Block, in front of the King Von mural. So what was going on with all that?
Durk told me to do that.
Durk told you to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
In one interview, Quando brushed off the threats, saying, "You can send all the messages you want, bro. That's just talk." But that attitude didn't calm things down. It only made people angrier. Then, on November 19th, 2022, chaos hit when Quando's team was ambushed at a gas station in Beverly Grove, Los Angeles. Reports said multiple people opened fire on his entourage. Quando wasn't hurt, but one of his closest friends, Lil Pap, was tragically caught in the crossfire. Panicked, his crew rushed him into their SUV and sped toward West Hollywood, but police stopped them after noticing the damage from the attack. Footage showed officers performing CPR as a distraught Quando screamed nearby, the video spreading like wildfire online. Despite the desperate efforts to save him, Lil Pap didn't survive. Quando later posted a photo of the two together paying tribute to his fallen friend. No one from O-Block ever claimed any connection to the attack, but the timing, the tension, and the history behind it kept fans talking nonstop. Many people online even started labeling him with extreme titles, saying he was behind several serious street incidents. Among the cases that often get mentioned are those connected to Gakira Barnes, FBG Duck, and Alexander Weatherspoon, names that keep resurfacing in stories about Chicago's toughest years. But Von's reputation didn't come just from street rumors. He was also known for his hands. Beyond any talk of weapons, people feared him because he could really fight. Inside jail and outside on the streets, Von had a reputation for handling things face to face. Some of those fights were even caught on camera.
Usually don't really see dudes be able to slip out of the handcuffs like that.
Yeah, that was crazy. I don't know how he did it, but he did.
In one clip, he's seen walking up to another inmate and swinging first before the two trade blows until others step in to break it up. In another wild video, Von somehow slips out of his cuffs and charges at someone who had been talking slick behind his back. The scene turned chaotic as officers tried to intervene, but Von's energy showed one thing: he was fearless and ready for any challenge. Two inmates quickly jumped in to help during the scuffle, but guards rushed in and broke it up before things got completely out of hand. Both Von and the other inmate were taken out of the bullpen, leaving everyone stunned by how wild the situation had gotten. What really shocked people, even the prison staff, was how Von managed to slip out of his cuffs. He had been secured properly, yet somehow he got loose and made a move that left everyone speechless. Later it came out that the inmate he went after was 051 Freaky, and according to Lil Reese, the whole thing might have been personal. Word is, Freaky had a tattoo that Von found disrespectful, a tribute connected to La Capone, another Chicago rapper who had close ties to Lil Durk. La Capone was seen as one of the most talented young voices from his side of Chicago. But on September 26, 2013, tragedy struck after he left a recording studio near 71st Street and Stony Island Avenue. Reports say he was approached by someone from a rival crew, and sadly, he didn't make it. His passing shook the local music scene and left many wondering what could have been. Even outside of jail, Von's fiery attitude followed him everywhere. He was never afraid to stand on what he believed in. That same energy led to his final tragic night in Atlanta. On that night, Von and his team had just flown in from New York to celebrate the release of his first album, Welcome to O-Block. The plan was to hit Opium nightclub for the release party, then head back to their Airbnb to wind down. But Von had other ideas. Instead of heading straight back, he decided to stop by Monaco Hookah Lounge. While waiting in the parking lot, his crew got word that someone familiar, Quando Rondo, was nearby. That one piece of information changed everything.
AI was like a pest. I remember her riding on the bike, like, you know, taunting us, and nigga, we trying to chase her back on the block, but she get out of that skirt on the bike, she gone. And she was somebody that, like, you.
Quando Rondo had been sitting in his car outside Monaco Hookah Lounge when everything exploded in seconds. King Von suddenly jumped out of his vehicle and walked straight toward him. Quando had just stepped out of his car, and before he could react, Von ran up and punched him, knocking him down as members of Von's crew rushed in behind him. The situation spiraled fast. Punches were flying everywhere while Quando tried to escape the chaos. Then, from behind one of the cars, Quando's close friend, Lil Tim, appeared and pulled out a weapon. Shots rang out, and in the blink of an eye, Von was hit. He was rushed to Grady Hospital in Atlanta, but despite emergency surgery, he didn't make it. The hip-hop world was left stunned. King Von's story ended the same way many of his songs began, with intensity and heartbreak. But what also made Von's name so infamous was his reputation before that night. One of the most talked about incidents tied to him involved 17-year-old Gakira Barnes, known online as K.I. She had become a legendary figure in Chicago's street scene and was said to have gone head-to-head with rivals from O Block. K.I. was widely known for her online persona, where she often bragged about her crew's dominance and taunted her rivals.
And then Von walked up to me, and I shook his hand. He like, look straight. And then I look straight, and I'm like, why are you telling me to look straight? He like, look straight, and what I'm finna say to you, don't look at me after I tell you.
She was rumored to be involved in the loss of O.D. Perry, one of Von's closest friends, and even posted about it online. Those posts caused major tension between her crew and O Block, with Von reportedly becoming fixated on confronting her. Interestingly, K.I.'s mother once described her as a caring, ambitious girl who wanted to become a social worker one day. But everything changed in 2011 after one of her best friends, Tuka, was ended while waiting for a bus on East 63rd Street. It didn't take long for Gakira Barnes, known on the streets as KY or Snoop, to build a fierce reputation in Chicago. Her nickname came from a cold-blooded character on The Wire, and word spread fast that she was tough, smart, and fearless.
I just run up on K.I. and why I just ran up on them niggas and caught K.I. She was the last one running out of the game.
Rumors claim that by just 14, she was already involved in serious street activity, and that she might have had more than a dozen rivals who fell because of her. Whether true or not, those stories made her one of the most talked about figures in Chicago's gang scene. Her rivals despised her, calling her a pest who couldn't be stopped. But everything came crashing down on April 11th when a hooded figure approached her on South Eberhart Avenue. Shots rang out, hitting K.I. multiple times. Despite trying to escape, she collapsed near a neighbor's doorstep. She was rushed to Northwestern Memorial Hospital, but sadly didn't survive. Her brother, FBG Buddha, and a friend were also hit, but lived, making it clear that K.I. had been the main target that night. Soon after, King Von was taken into custody after witnesses reportedly linked him to the scene. But when the case went to court, there wasn't enough solid evidence to convict him, so the charges were dropped. For years, the truth stayed buried under street rumors and speculation. Then, years later,
and I'm just in my head like, damn, for real? And sure enough, after he told me that sirens came.
After Von himself passed away, official reports surfaced claiming he had been identified as the main suspect in K1's case. The documents described the shooter as wearing a gray hoodie and blue jeans, walking up to the three victims before opening fire and fleeing in a getaway car. Jay Hood, one of Von's close friends from O Block, later claimed Von privately admitted being involved, saying K.I. was the last person he shot that day. He remembered hearing sirens moments after Von told him what had happened. Still, K.I.'s brother, FBG Buddha, strongly denied those claims and insisted Von had nothing to do with his sister's death. But in 2023, a report surfaced suggesting that Buddha had once told investigators the opposite, that Von was indeed behind the attack. The paperwork allegedly listed him as a cooperating witness who confirmed that O Block member David Bennett, known as King Von, was involved. So all of this painted an even darker picture of Von's legacy. It showed how deep his connections ran and how feared his name had become in the rap world. Some said Von didn't just rap about street life, he lived it. And for many artists, that made him both respected and terrifying. On February 5th, 2019,
and what I know is, on my dead, Von didn't kill Car. I got shot too. I was right there. I got shot too. I saw the motherfucker who popped us. He did.
Things got tense outside the Varsity, a famous spot in Midtown Atlanta. Shots suddenly rang out in the parking lot, and when police arrived, they found a 23-year-old man, later identified as Alexander Weatherspoon, injured with a wound to his leg. Witnesses said they saw an SUV with 300 on the side speeding off just seconds after the shots were fired. According to reports, the suspects didn't just shoot Weatherspoon, they also took his chain, cash, and car before fleeing the scene. A few months later, 3 men were arrested in connection with the case: King Von, Lil Durk, and Bezu. Out of the 3, Durk was listed as the main suspect and faced several serious charges, including aggravated assault and gang-related offenses. Authorities even claimed surveillance footage showed him firing a weapon during the altercation. But everything changed after King Von passed away. In 2022, prosecutors dropped all charges against Durk, revealing that new evidence pointed to Von as the one responsible for the shooting. The district attorney, Fonnie Willis, later confirmed that if Von had still been alive,
you see Mr. Banks' arm out the window firing several shots at the victim
he would have faced indictment for the attack on Weatherspoon. What made the story even wilder was that Weatherspoon was allegedly affiliated with the Vice Lords, a rival street group. That connection made it clear this wasn't random. It was personal. Von had grown up surrounded by people who lived by street codes, and he carried that mentality into adulthood. It's no surprise he earned a reputation for being both fearless and unpredictable. From the south side of Chicago to Atlanta's bright lights, King Von's story was one of loyalty, chaos, and tragedy. His name still echoes through the streets, his lyrics replayed like the soundtrack to a life that burned fast and ended too soon. If you found this story wild, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because next time we're diving deep into what's really going down in our hood.